Hello everyone. Today I am going to share something about the glimpses of research methodology with you. See the picture available here. So there's a lens which is searching for research. The word research has been subdivided into two. Research, in the sense we are searching something to get additional knowledge. See here the meaning of research. According to the American sociologist Earl Robert Babbie, research is a systematic inquiry to describe, explain, predict, and control the observed phenomenon. Research is done by applying what is known and building on it. Additional knowledge can be discovered by providing existing theories and by trying to better explain observations. Research is a continuous process of solving problems and finding facts in an organized way. Research is an organized and systematic way to find answers to questions. Research is a creative process. It is looking into something, it is looking for something. It is comparing and contrasting things. It is finding out more information. It is counting things, making inquiries, being curious, finding out what people think, finding out what people do, finding out what works, finding out what doesn't work, finding out what people want, etc. etc. So, for this, we need a methodology. That is what is known as research methodology. So, here comes the basic characteristics of research. The first one is objective. The second one is precise. It should be as clear as possible. Then it should be verifiable. Then parsimonious. It should be simple and less expensive. Empirical, logical, and then probabilistic. These are all the components or characteristics of research. Strategies of research methodology. The first one is search strategy. Under that, planning. Planning is essential and the first part of research methodology. Under the head planning, we need to identify the needs for systematic literature review, which gives us the specification of research question. From that, we can define the review protocol. Here comes the protocol evaluation. From that, we need conducting the research. That means inclusion and exclusion. We are including what is essential for us and we are excluding what is not essential for us. Under conducting strategy, select primary studies, access study quality, then data extraction and synthesis takes place. We can have comparison between and among attributes that we derived. So here comes evaluations. From that, we started documenting our works. So the third strategy, classification and comparison with the help of documentation. So here we can draw conclusions, analyze threats and report results. That is what is known as a report evaluation. So this is the strategy of research methodology. So we have different types of research: applied research, fundamental research, quantitative research, qualitative research, conceptual research, empirical research, exploratory research, conclusive research, descriptive research, experimental research, action research, survey research, library research, laboratory research, monetary research, preliminary research. Like that, it can be classified in so many ways. Every type of research has its own purpose. Typical research projects involve multiple stages. So this is what we are going to concentrate with. The first stage is idea generation, then comes literature review, then comes study design, followed by data collection, analysis, and then writing report as well as research papers. So the first stage is idea generation. So how to get idea for the research? This is otherwise known as the problem identification of the research. The first one is brainstorm for ideas. Always looking for the new ideas and the new areas. Choose a topic that will enable you to read and understand the literature. So we should look into the availability of the materials at first. Ensure that the topic is manageable and that material is available. Make a list of keywords first. Be flexible in all the situations. Define your topic as a focused research question. Research and read more about your topic. Formulate a thesis statement. So reading is essential at the time of getting idea. Next one is idea finalization. So how to get it finalized? So with the help of professional experience. At this stage, we can get the ideas from the experts available in that particular field. Then some burning questions can be explored. Literature study, professional meetings with the experts, for example, guides and co-guides like that. And then with the help of discussions, we can finalize our idea, which is going to be the basic one for the research. See the literature survey. There are many books available we need to study, either from the traditional form of books or by exploring into the internet. You can get lot of literature. So a literature review provides the reader with a picture of the state of knowledge and the main questions in the subject area being investigated. So the definition of literature review goes like this. A literature review surveys scholarly articles, books and other sources. Example, dissertations, conference proceedings and so on and on. Relevant to a particular issue, area of research or theory. It provides a short description and critical evaluation of work critical to the topic. It offers an overview of significant literature published on a topic. What is literature review? What can be done? What cannot be done? So, what a literature review is not about a report that summarizes articles and books about many different topics. That means it is not this. It's not simply the summary of what we read. It is not a research paper. It is not a list of important research presented chronologically. But what is the literature review? What should be done? It surveys scholarly articles, books and journals relevant to a narrow topic. It provides a description, summary and critical evaluation of each scholarly work. This is the most essential part. After getting reviewed various chapters and studies, we need to evaluate them critically. Then it provides an overview of the significant literature published on your topic. So next we are going to enter into the part of statistics. So here comes the various stages of statistics: collect, organize, present, analyze, and then interpret, make valid conclusion and take correct decision. So the first category, collect and organize, will give us the data preparation stage. Then presentation, descriptive analysis, then analyze, inferential analysis. So let's see them one by one. So how the data collection takes place? So the data collection is primarily subdivided into two major parts known as primary data collection methods, secondary data collection methods. Under primary data collection methods, we have statistical methods, surveys, polls, interview, Delphi technique, and then focus groups. Under the secondary data collection, we can simply depend upon the financial reports, sales reports, government reports, mission, vision statement, internet, and so on and on. Simply, The methods of data collection includes secondary data source and then primary data source. Secondary source, we simply depend upon the documents of government publications, earlier research publications, census reports, personal records which includes even the diary, client histories, service records from the hospitals and educational institutions, like that. And then primary sources can be subdivided into three major areas. One is observation, another one is interviewing technique, and the other one is questionnaire technique. The first one is observation. So under observation we have two types of techniques known as participant observation. That means we are the person who is conducting the observation may be the part of it. So that's why participant. Another one is non-participant. We may not be a portion or we may not be a part into that particular area, but we are simply the observer as outsider. And then comes interviewing. Under that, structured interview method is there, very formal interview, and again unstructured interview will also takes place. Like that telephone interview, that will come under the head unstructured interview. And the third category is questionnaire. So mailed questionnaire, collective questionnaire. So under mailed questionnaire, we simply mail the questionnaire to very large populations and we can gather information through mail only. That means only 10 to 15% of the response we may receive. The other one is collective questionnaire. So for the collective questionnaire, we are directly going and getting the information. So for the questionnaire purpose, we have now Monkey survey. So like that, many sources are available. We can gather information by sending questionnaire through emails, WhatsApps, like that, with the help of Google Forms. There are so many sources available for the collection and analysis of data nowadays. So then comes division of research. So here, descriptive, rational. What do you mean by descriptive research? Example, percentage of regular exercises. We can describe what is happening and what is not happening, what is existing and what is not existing. So that is description. Next one is relational. So here we are going to create a link between age and exercise. Comparison is possible under a relational form of research. Another one is causal. Example, effect of behavior change intervention on exercise participation. Here we are going to study the impact of exercise, impact of particular phenomena on the other side. Apart from that, we have basic research, applied research versus evaluation research, experimental versus non-experimental, analytical versus descriptive versus experimental versus qualitative. Like that, we have many divisions under. The next aspect we are going to see about the framing up of research questions. So we should give utmost care in designing the research questions. So shortly it is known as FINER, that is feasible, interesting, novel, ethical and relevant. The first one is feasible. Our questions should be feasible with relation to subjects, resources, manageability and the availability of the data. So this is what is known as the feasibility study of constructing a questionnaire. Second one, it should be interesting. Then only we will get proper responses from the respondents. Then it should be novel in relation to previous findings. Whether we are confirming the findings or we are refuting it. New setting, new population. Absolutely, we must have a new idea in relation to the research problem as well as the setting up of the research questions. It should be ethical. We should give utmost importance to the ethical aspects of the research data collection that should relate social or scientific value. Then it should be safe. We should give the assurance to the respondents this is only for study purpose and not for anything else. And again, the relevancy of the question, that is relevant, advance scientific knowledge, influence any practice, impact any policy, guide future research. So these are all the items we should take into consideration while framing up of the question. And then the research questions must identify the variables under study, the population being studied, and the testability of the question. What do you mean by variable? Any observation that can take on different values. Example, age, gender. Attribute means a specific value on a variable, value assigned to that particular variable. Types of data. We have basically quantitative data and qualitative data. This quantitative data can be obtained with the help of experimental survey and secondary source of surveys. Then qualitative survey, attitude perceptions. So these types of attitude perceptions, opinions are categorized under the head qualitative data. Then we have mixed methods too. A standard questionnaire must have both quantitative as well as qualitative data. What is qualitative and quantitative? Quantitative data always expressed as numbers. Qualitative data difficult to measure sensibly as numbers. We can't count it. Count number of words to measure dissatisfaction. So we can't count satisfaction or dissatisfaction in terms of numbers. Then quantitative analysis, numerical methods to ascertain size, magnitude, amount, like that. So qualitative analysis, for qualitative analysis, expression of the nature of elements and is represented as themes, patterns, stories, etc. Be careful how you manipulate data and numbers. So one should give undue respect to this qualitative as well as qualitative data. We should know how to distinguish between qualitative and quantitative data. So these are all some examples. So here variable age, attribute the values assigned in terms of numbers. See here another variable, gender or sex, attribute male, female or transgenders. And then comes another example. So here variables that we can't measure in terms of numbers. So here only values are assigned. Very satisfied 1, satisfied 2, somewhat satisfied 3, not satisfied 4, and not satisfied at all 5. So this is yet another example. Types of variables in research. So again, types of variables can be subdivided into two major aspects, independent variable and dependent variable. So independent variable has some presumed effect on the dependent variable, that is outcome. May or may not be manipulated, independent variable. Whereas dependent variable, something that varies with a change in the independent variable. So as the term goes, the literary meaning of dependency, it always depends on other item. So here outcome is defined, it is known as outcome variable 2. See the example, dependent variable is exercise participation. So that's based upon the independent variables, health status, attitude, social support and intervention. So this is how we need to distinguish our dependent variable and independent variables based on the nature of the data and the availability of the data. Next one is types of scales. So we have 4 types of scales. One is nominal. Objects or people are categorized according to some criterion, gender, job category, like that. So nominal is simply the categorization of variables. Another one is ordinal. This categories which are ranked according to characteristics. Income. Income can be classified into low income, moderate income and high income. So that's an order. Another one is interval scale. Contain equal distance between units of measure but no zero. Calendar years, temperature. So like that we can classify the numbers into class intervals. That's why it is interval. Another one is ratio. It has an absolute zero and consistent intervals. Example, distance, weight. See the ladder, nominal is the base one. So attributes are only named. Ordinal attributes can be ordered. Interval, distance is meaningful. Ratio, absolute zero. So these are all the items coming under levels of measurement. Then comes to analysis part. What is the purpose of analysis? Descriptive analysis, inferential analysis. So what descriptive analysis tells us, it simply summarizes of the population studied with the help of parameters, mainly mean and standard deviation. Then preliminary to further analysis. So this is the basic criteria upon which other inferential statistics are built. So inferential, it is used with sample from total population and how well can result be generalized to total population. So here categories of analysis. There are three major categories known as univariate analysis. So uni refers only one aspect. Example, x variables alone can be taken into consideration. So this examine the distribution of value categories, whether it be nominal or ordinal or values with interval or ratios. So all the scales can be applied for this univariate analysis. Then comes bivariate analysis. So here we are examining the relationship between two different types of variables known as x and y. Height can be compared with age, income can be compared with expenditure, like that. We are dealing with two aspects. Then comes multivariate analysis. Simultaneously, we can examine the relationship among three or more variables. So different statistical tools are available for univariate, bivariate and multivariate analysis. So this is the structure of statistical analysis. So first we need to determine what needs to be done based on the problem or specific objective of the study. So to summarize or describe data, we need to apply descriptive statistics. To make comparisons or determine relationship between variables, we need to apply inferential statistics. So descriptive statistics again subdivided into two categories. To summarize data set in the form of frequency tables. So what can be applied in the form of statistical tools here? That is central tendencies, mean, median, mode. We can also add harmonic mean, geometric mean, like that. Another one is to determine the dispersion of variation of data. That implies how far the data is deviated from the central tendency. So for this purpose, we can apply a range, which is the difference between the largest value and the smallest value. Then we can have standard deviation, mean deviation, quartile deviation, confidence interval. Like that, we have so many techniques available. So there comes inferential statistics. So for the purpose of inferential statistics, we can apply chi-square test to test the goodness of fit of the data. So two or more frequency tables can be combined in the form of contingency table test. Then we can apply chi-square there. Then to determine relationship between variables, we can apply correlation analysis. And then for the original data, we can go for this Pearson product moment correlation or Pearson correlation with the help of equation. If opinion survey or qualitative data, we can simply apply Spearman rank correlation. Then we can go for regression analysis to determine significant differences. If we want to compare two variables, there are parametric tests and non-parametric tests. There are parametric tests used and for non-parametric distribution-free test continuous data for discrete data. Distribution-free test continuous be greater than discrete data. That is the limitation. must be
So
greater
for
than
t-test,
40.
that is
There
the
are
limitation.
three types again.
So for
T-test,
t-test,
mean versus standard. There are three
so
types
that
again.
means we are
T-test,
comparing the
mean
sample
versus
with the
standard.
population. So
Then
that
pooled
means we are
estimate of
comparing the
variance,
sample with
t-test.
the population.
This is what is known as
pooled estimate of
independent
variance,
test,
independent t-test.
This is
And
what is
then
known as
paired
independent
t-test.
test.
This is
independent
t-test. And then
t-test.
paired
Then for
t-test.
non-parametric test, we have
Wilcoxon
Then for
rank
non-parametric
test,
test,
independent
we have
population.
Wilcoxon
And we
rank
have
sum
Wilcoxon
test, independent
signed
population,
rank test.
and dependent
We have
population,
Wilcoxon
mean versus
signed
standard.
rank test.
Apart from that, we
Dependent
have
population,
man
mean
mean
versus
versus
standard.
standard.
Apart from
U
that, we
test
have
also.
man white need to
Then
U test
to compare
also.
more than two variables,
Then
again we have
to compare
parametric
more
test
than
and
two
non-parametric
variables.
test.
Again
Again
we
we
have
have
parametric test and
parametric test. We
test.
have
Under the
Poker-Red
head test,
we
we
have
have
parametric test. We have different
Poker-Red
varieties of
test, we
ANOVA.
have ANOVA.
ANOVA means
We
analysis
have
of
different
variance.
varieties
We can
of
have
ANOVA.
ANOVA means
Two-way
analysis of
and
variance. We can have
multivariate
one-way
ANOVA,
also known
two-way
as
ANOVA.
MANOVA.
And
Multivariate
for
ANOVA
non-parametric
also
test,
known as
for
MANOVA.
aptitude test,
And then
we have
for
critical
non-parametric
values
test,
and
for
then
aptitude
aptitude
test, we
so
have
like
critical
critical
values
values
test,
on
and then
there
there
are
are test.
so many
So like
tests
that
are
it will be
available.
going
These
on
are all
and on.
coming
There
under
are
so many tests are
multivariate
available.
analysis.
These are all coming under
So now we
multivariate
came to the
analysis.
last part of our work
So
under
now
research
we came to the
methodology. That is
last
part of our
interpretation
work
of
under
data.
research methodology.
After analysis
That
of
is
data
interpretation
and the
of
appropriate
data.
and the application
After
of
analysis
appropriate
of
statistical
data
procedure
and the
appropriate and the
the
application
next
of
one is
appropriate
research
statistical procedure
paper
is
is
to
to
present
the next
interpretation
one
of
is
the
research
data,
paper
which is to
the
present
final
the
step of
interpretation
research
of the
process,
data,
which consists of
final step of
components.
research
We need
process,
to
which
summarize our
three
findings in the form of
components.
summary
We
of
need to
findings,
summarize our
derived
findings in the
area,
form
that
of
is summary of
conclusions,
findings,
based
and
on
then
the
derived
findings
area,
and
that is
conclusions.
we can
Based
give,
on
we
the
can give
findings
solid
and conclusions,
suggestions,
we
or
can give, we can
recommendations.
give solid
statistical
statistical interpretation. See the
recommendations.
ladder. Now we
So,
came to the
statistical
top
interpretation.
ladder.
See the
Statistical
ladder.
interpretation.
Now we came to the
Interpretation
top
is
ladder.
imperative. That is the
Statistical
most
interpretation,
essential part.
interpretation
To
is
statistical
imperative,
analysis,
that is
and
the
it
most
primarily
essential
means
part,
making
to statistical
sense
analysis
from data
and it
that has been
primarily means
collected
making
and
sense
interpreting
from
data that has been collected
from a
and
statistical
interpreting it
standpoint,
that will eventually
from a
help
statistical
in achieving the study
standpoint,
objectives.
that will
So in this
eventually
area
help in
we should have a
achieving the
match
study
between
objectives.
our
So in
objectives
this area
and the
we should have a
interpretation
match
part.
between
This
our
section
objectives
answers
and
certain
the
key
interpretation
questions
part.
that
This section
through light
answers
on
certain
how
statistical
key
interpretation
that is
through
conducted
light on
and
how
addresses
statistical
key
interpretation
issues
is
conducted
pertaining to it.
and
So
addresses
we should give
key
undue
issues
importance pertaining
this
to it.
So
Part of
we should give
statistical
undue
interpretation.
importance
So
to
in
this
a nutshell,
part of
see,
statistical
our
interpretation.
class,
So in a nutshell,
it begins
see,
with
our
broad
class,
questions.
narrow down,
It begins
focus
with
in
broad
operationalize,
questions.
observe,
Narrow down,
analyze
focus
data,
in
reach
operationalize,
conclusions,
observe,
generalize
analyze
data,
back to
reach
questions.
conclusions, generalize. So
Back to
here goes an
questions.
example of marketing research.
So
to conduct
goes
a
an
market
example
research,
of marketing
we can
research.
adopt all these
So to conduct
stages.
a market
we can
research,
have surveys,
we can adopt
we
all
can have a
these
focus
stages.
group
We can have
to be
surveys,
surveyed. We can
have
use
a
interview
focus
techniques
group
we
to
can
be
survey,
follow
we can use interview
ethnography.
techniques.
That means we can
concentrate,
follow
a particular
ethnography.
area to be
That means
studied,
we can
and then we
concentrate
can depend on
a
government
particular
agencies
area
to
to be
collect
studied,
secondary data,
and then we can
and
depend
also
on
other
other
types of
agencies
to collect
to
secondary data,
gather
and also
secondary
other
data.
types of
So this is
agencies
the combination
to
of items from
gather
which we can
secondary
concentrate
data.
on.
So this is the
Market
combination
research.
of items
So
from
to
which we
go
can
further
concentrate
on
on
the
market research,
market research,
primary,
so to go
secondary.
further on the
So
market
for the
research
purpose
of
collecting
primary
secondary
data, we can have
So for the
industry
purpose of
interviews,
collecting
vendor
primary data, we
briefings,
can have
product
industry
evaluations,
interviews,
end user
vendor
service,
briefings,
and end
product
user
evaluations,
focus groups
end
to
user service,
and again
and
to
end user
gather
focus
secondary
groups
data.
to we can
And
have
again
company
to
news
gather
and financial
secondary data.
technology
We can have
and product
company
specs,
news and
government and
financials,
economic
technology
data,
and
case
product
studies,
specs,
reference
government and
customers.
economic
So this is
data,
the way
case
through
studies,
ways through
a
which
reference
we can
customers.
collect primary
So this
and
is the way
secondary
through
data
ways
to have a
through
market
which
research.
we can collect
Then to
primary
have the
and
market
secondary data
analysis.
to have a
Again
market
we have
research.
qualitative
Then to have
analysis
the market
and
analysis.
quantitative analysis.
Again we have
For
qualitative analysis
we can
and
have
quantitative
company
analysis.
analysis.
For
Business
qualitative
models,
analysis,
competitive
competitive
landscape, company analysis,
technology
business
assessment,
models,
competitive
application and use
landscape,
cases.
technology
Then for
assessment,
quantitative
application
analysis,
and
we
use
can have
cases.
market
Then for
sizing,
quantitative
market
segmentation,
we can
market
have
forecast,
market sizing,
share
market
analysis,
segmentation,
and
market
scenario
forecast,
analysis.
market
So this
share
is a
analysis,
typical example
and
for this
scenario
market research.
analysis.
So you
this
can
is
have
a
the
typical example for
research
market
design
research according
so you
to
can have
your
the
topic.
research
in a
design
nutshell,
according to
so what
your
methods we can
topic.
adopt,
So in a
what
nutshell,
stages we can
so
follow,
what methods
and
we
what
can
result
adopt,
we can
what
derive.
stages we
First
can
one is
follow,
literature
and what
analysis.
result we
So,
can derive.
first one is
That gives
literature
us
analysis.
the research
So,
clarification.
that
What
gives
we are
us
going
the
to
research
do.
So we can have a
Clarification.
blueprint under
What
this we are
stage,
going to
and then
do.
the result
So we
is
can have a
initial
blueprint
problem
under this
understanding,
stage,
and then the
framing
result
about
is
objectives.
initial problem
And then
understanding,
empirical
and the
analysis.
framing about
That will
objectives.
give us
The
and then
descriptive
empirical
study
analysis.
we can
That will
identify
give
the
us
factors
the descriptive
influencing, that
study.
is influencing
We can
factors,
identify the
success
factors
factors
determining
that is
factors like that
influencing
we can
factors,
name it.
success
And then
factors
experiments
determining
and factors
synthesis,
like that we can
that
name
is
it. And
prescriptive
then
study,
experiments
a
resulting in
synthesis, solution,
that is
prescriptive
methods and
study,
tools
a
and
resulting in
evaluation of
solution,
plans.
methods
Then
and
again
tools,
empirical
and the
analysis,
evaluation of
descriptive
plans.
study 2,
Then again
that
empirical
will give us
analysis,
descriptive
give us
study
and
2,
leads us to
that will give
evaluation
us
and
conclusions.
give us and leads us to
So in a
evaluation
nutshell,
and
empirical research
conclusions.
methodology, it's a
So
cycle.
in a nutshell,
Starting
starting
with
with methodology,
observation, induction,
starting
detection,
with testing,
observation,
and then
induction,
evaluation.
detection, testing. So
And then
to conclude,
evaluation.
dissemination of findings.
So
we
to
shouldn't
conclude,
stop our
dissemination
research
of
with the
findings.
research report
So we
alone.
shouldn't
So we
stop
need to
our
disseminate
research
the
with the
knowledge
research
with
report alone.
others. So we need
So
to
for
disseminate the
that, we can
knowledge
have
with
written
others.
reports,
So for that,
presentations, we can
into
have
seminars,
written
conferences
reports,
like that.
presentations,
Then
publications,
seminars, conferences
we can make
like that.
policies based
Then
on our studies,
publications,
patents
we can
be
make policies
applied
based on
and
our studies,
owned,
and then
patents can be
supplied
applied
to
and
media. So these
owned,
are some
and
of the
then
ways through
supplied
which
to
we can
media.
So
disseminate your
some of the
findings.
ways through
So
which we can
have
disseminate
plan
your
very
findings.
well.
So in the
Have
initial stage itself,
plan
how
very
you can
well
travel in the
with
initial
the,
stage
research
itself,
in your
how
hand.
you can travel
Have a
with
good
the
day. Thank you.
research in your hand. Have a good day. Thank you.